Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. It's early. Okay. All right, give me one more second here and then I'm ready to get going. Okay. So, good morning again. Sorry, I'm sorry that I'm just a little sleepy today. So we're in the middle of which chapter are we in? Okay, first of all, for what book are we studying? If someone comes up to you and says, "What book are we studying?" And it's a big high lama, and you're trying to not embarrass me. Geshe Michael comes up to you and you're like, oh, you're studying with Tim. Oh, that's great. What are you studying? And I'm standing behind you and I'm like, okay, great. Thank you, Yasheng. At least we got one person who knows, right? Guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life. Um, who's the author of this masterpiece? Mm-hmm. There we go. Good. Master Shantideva. Excellent. So we're in the second chapter of 10 chapters. And we'll be going through the whole book in the next 3 courses. Please turn on your cameras if you can. Thank you. And this whole chapter is it's a preparation. It's an interesting kind of way to begin a book. It's basically saying, hey, you want to be a bodhisattva? Yes, I want to be a bodhisattva. All right, so what do you need to do? And the first thing you need to do is, if you haven't been convinced about being a bodhisattva, the first chapter is about the benefits, right? It's a sales pitch, right? And I think as ACI practitioners, and people who are going to be teachers someday, which many of you will be, you have to learn how to sell it. Like you have to be like, you got to sell it, right? And the first, then what's okay, for $50, for $100, what's the best way to sell a guide to the Bodhisattva's way of life? Come on, all you marketers. Dang, Louisa, she said it right. She said it first, at least in my chat. That's right. Your sales pitch is to be a living example. All right. Like, how do you send me your PayPal? I think I have it, but just send it again, just in case. That's your sales pitch, right? Are you getting, is your life getting better? Are you getting happier day by day? Right? Are you smiling just a little bit more? Are you more pleasant to be around? Just a little bit more pleasant. Are things starting to work out for you generally? How do you handle adversity? How do you handle the challenges of life? How do you face them? That's your best living. That's the best way to do it. The first chapter is about the benefits, right? What are all the benefits of being a bodhisattva? Right. And then the second chapter is like, all right, let's get ready. Let's get ready to. Wow, that's weird. I used to watch fake professional wrestling on TV when I was a kid. And there was a line that they said, like, let's get ready to rumble. I remember this as a kid. I don't know why that came up. That's actually a really good example. We're going to use that sometime. So fake professional wrestling, right, is entertainment, right? They're not real wrestlers, right? They're fake wrestlers. In what way can you say being a bodhisattva is like being a fake wrestler? How about that? This is a good question. These are the kind of things you need to be able to pull out of your brain when you're teaching. Oh, I like that, Louisa, but it's not about challenging other people, although fake professional wrestlers are motivational. Focus on the word fake. No, no. Okay, guys. When do we consider someone to be an actual bodhisattva? At the path of seeing, right? That's when you're considered technically, and everything up to that is practice, right? It doesn't mean you're not a bodhisattva. It doesn't mean you're not doing all the things, but that's what we're trying to get to. So in that way, I would say it's like fake professional wrestling. Okay, but it's not anything like that. It's not like that at all. But if you're getting ready to be a bodhisattva, and also the other way that it's fake is that you fake it until you make it. Meaning, right? You might learn some skills. You may not be happy all day long, but at least you can smile once. Maybe you can smile twice. Maybe you can do something nice for somebody just once. And the rest of the day, you can be grumpy. I'm okay with that. All right. But then the next day, be a little less grumpy, And so you're kind of faking it, like you're just kind of forcing yourself to do it. And a lot of the practices that we give are, frankly, I'm sorry, just a little bit mechanical. They sometimes feel that way. They feel like, I don't know, they don't feel authentic until they do. Right? Oh, I'm going to go help somebody today. I don't feel like it, but I know I'm planting good seeds. Okay. There's a thing about doing something that will result in a good, doing something that will serve as a cause for a good result, even if you don't feel like a good person doing it, will still result in a good result. How about that? Okay. So in a way, we are kind of faking it until we make it, right? Even when we're studying the pen, right? It's even like, oh, it's coming from me. Yes, I can explain that. And I hope all of you can explain that. Oh, why is Tim talking about teaching? Why is he talking all about teaching? Francisco, could you please get or Gina, get the QR code for the thing we have coming up this weekend for the teacher assistant training, which I'm going to sell the entire class. Don't put it up yet. Oh, okay, you can put it up now. Okay, there it is. We need teachers. All right. And who are the best teachers? Well, the ones who go to classes. Okay. The idea is we have a teacher training coming up next month, end of next month, beginning of March for ACI 6, where we're going to be teaching how to teach the Diamond Cutter Sutra. It's a great course. I just designed it yesterday. With some help, of course. But we're going to be going in how to teach it. And we're going to be teaching all about not only, the Diamond Cutter Sutra and how to teach it, but we're also going to be teaching about the 6 flavors of emptiness. And we're going to be teaching you how to use the 6 flavors of emptiness as a teacher, which I think is incredibly valuable. So a student comes to you and they're like, I have problem X. Oh, well, we'll put that back up in a second because I'm still selling. I have problem X. I have this going on. And then you say, oh, well, tell me more about it. And you start listening to whatever's going on for them, right? But you need to learn to have the ears to understand what is going on for the student. How are they understanding their affliction? How are they understanding themselves? How are they understanding their world while they're having a challenge? What is their level of emptiness, in other words? So then you can help them. Yes, you help them with a lot of compassion. Sorry you're going through this. Let me support you. Let's talk about this. How are you doing? My teacher does that for me. My teacher offered psychological services the other day. That was nice. I took it as a slight offense as well. But what my teacher meant was, I'm here to listen if you need something. And how do you help as well? And so learning how to understand where they are in their understanding of emptiness, so then you can, don't go too far, right? Maybe they just need to hear flavor 1. Oh, I understand, this will pass because everything passes. Everything changes. And I'm not being flippant right now, of course. But maybe they're not ready to hear anything else. Or maybe they're not even ready to hear anything at all. Maybe they just need a hug. Right? And you got to determine that. You have to understand what's needed. Sometimes when a student comes with an affliction, there's nothing you can say. You just let them have the affliction. Or sometimes, it just depends. And that's part of teaching. So we're going to go through that during the course. So, but the course itself also needs support. We have our senior teachers who give the classes, like the theory classes, but then each trainer or trainee goes into small groups, and then you practice teaching, because that's what you do to be a teacher. You have to practice, right? And it's really a matter of just taking the time to do it, and then making all the mistakes. And you will make mistakes, and get used to it. It's okay. But in those groups, we need people to facilitate those groups. We need people who can help train the trainers, people who understand how to give feedback better, people who understand how to lead people who might understand a little bit more about helping in teaching. And if you've ever wanted to help a teacher, if you've ever wanted to become a teacher, this is a great way to do it. Now you can put it up, Francisco. This weekend, we're starting a program. It's the teacher assistant training. So you basically become a TA. I don't know what happened to it, but we'll get the links up again at some point. And so this weekend, we're going to be going through and training people in the content of the course and what you need to do to be able to support the other people in the course, other people in the actual teacher training. So this is a pre-course for the teacher training. And if you've ever wanted to be a teacher, do this. This is the way to become a teacher. If you've never done it before, I don't care. Sign up. Okay. It's great practice. So we'll have two days of content classes, and then you'll get into small groups over the next 2 weeks or so, And then you'll practice teaching that content to each other. You'll practice giving feedback to each other, and you're going to give feedback on how you give feedback, on how other people give feedback. Okay. It is incredibly vulnerable. It is incredibly, nerve-wracking. And it's the best thing you can do for yourself is to just join and show up and suffer. Okay. Because what are you actually doing? You're helping other people become teachers, which will help you become teachers. Get it? It'll help you feel comfortable with the material. It'll help you feel comfortable talking to people about it. So that's this weekend. I know it's last minute. I know we were last minute, and I'm sorry, but not too sorry. Okay. But please do sign up. It's free. And these are invaluable skills that you'll learn. The skills you'll learn are invaluable for everything else you do. Like learning to be an ACI teacher helps you in pretty much every other profession that you may be involved in. Like learning how to set up a class, learning how to organize your thoughts, learning how to speak clearly, learning how to teach to different types of audiences. And then if you are an ACI practitioner and you're trying to serve the world, how could you maybe inject ideas about the pen at your office in a way that people can hear it? Right? So if you have finished ACI 6 or you're close to finishing it, please join. If you want to be in this role, you have to have ACI 6 finished. Okay, there's no way around that. But you have like a month. The training is this weekend. But the actual teacher course is not until beginning of March. So you got a whole month. So come to this, learn how to be a teacher, and then finish ACI 6. All right. How's that for a sales pitch? And yours truly is leading it. Okay. And we have some other people coming in as well. All right, let's continue with class. So we were talking about fake professional wrestling and about being a bodhisattva and practicing until you make it. And so this whole section of the book is about all the practice you do to get yourself ready. And then getting yourself ready includes purification. It includes establishing a foundational practice that can help you ripen bad seeds faster so you can get them out of the way to be able to have more of the things that you want in a worldly sense and also in a much more ultimate sense. Because if you don't learn how to shakpa, like dikpa shakpa, if you don't learn how to purify, you're not going to be able to move forward quickly. How about that? So it's not surprising that in the beginning of Shantideva's book, he's like, yeah, we're going to spend a lot of time on this. Right? We begin to learn how to ripen negative seeds quickly and in ways that aren't too harmful, right? Because what's going to happen in your life? You're just going to have stuff happen. It just happens. Stuff happens. A friend of mine had a car accident last week and ran into another car, and the other car had a little boy in it, and the little boy died. Okay, like happy family, and then unhappy family in 2 seconds, right? And it wasn't anyone's fault. The road got icy. There was ice on the road and there was an accident. These things can happen to people. Your loved ones will die. You will get sick. Wars happen. Like all of these things happen. And so how do we begin the process of purifying our world to create the perfect world? And how can we do it fast? And how can we also protect ourselves when we do stupid stuff all day long? How many times did you get angry yesterday? How many times did you get just slightly irritated? How many times did you just think something bad about somebody? Or worse, you yelled at someone, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. And those things are uncontrollable in a sense that they just happen. And that's part of the being a human. And then how do we navigate all those things? So he talks about the four powers, the four forces. And I can't emphasize enough that there's a reason why it's the second chapter. Why is this the second chapter? Why is this so important for all of our practices? Many of you are taking the Dalam course, which is, ACI 19, 20, and 21. Okay. And that course is a preparation for the main event, moving into the advanced courses. But what we end up doing in the advanced courses is we give deeper practices to basically purify your world. Like deeper practices to change how you see things and change the people around you very quickly. So it's not like, oh, we learned the four powers because I said something bad to somebody. Right? I did say something bad to someone in my head yesterday for a half an hour. That sucked, right? But how do you then prevent those seeds from becoming worse over, because seeds grow. So how do we stop that? And then how do we then start pulling out and withdrawing projections that we don't want anymore? All right. So that's why we're doing this. That's why I'm spending a little bit extra time reviewing it as well, because if we understand the why, then we can understand, like, have a motivation to do the practice. Mm. So one of the things we didn't do last week was we didn't talk about, I think it was question 7 on the last homework. So let's review. There's 4 main steps in the 4 forces. In the order that Shantideva presents it, what's number 1? I know it was so long ago, and no one practiced it. No one practiced it last week. Everyone just let their seeds grow. Nope, not foundation. It's the foundation is how we normally do it, Jackie. It's the force of destruction. Okay. And it's how do you destroy that seed right away? Like, what is the way to stop that? So the force of sorry. The force of destruction is mainly about what it says, stopping the bad seed, right? Stopping the bad seed that you already planted. And so we talked about this as, hold on, just pulling up my notes here. Is really to understand that I did something and I'm going to have to see the result. I did this and I'm going to have to see the result. And so there's a level of regret that comes up, right? Oh shit, I did it again. And if you want to like get out of the feeling of, guilt or something, just, I don't know. I did this earlier in one of the earlier courses. Like just sing the Britney Spears song. Oops, I did it again. Okay. And laugh about it. Like get a little campy about it. Like shit, oops, I did it again. It, right? Planted another bad seed. Okay, great. So in that way, that feeling of regret is what will motivate you. If you do it, if you do it, if you build it, they will come, right? There we go. Field of dreams. If you plant a bad seed, you will have a bad result. If you plant a good seed, you'll have a good result. Right? So recognizing what you're doing in every moment and what the results of that will be if they grow too big, that should be enough to motivate us. So then the second one is the foundation force. Okay, and this is what we didn't talk too much about. And there's three ways to think of the foundation force. The first one is we've done this many, many times, but the idea of going for refuge. Go for refuge in the three jewels. And what does that mean? Does that mean go run to a Buddhist temple and bow to a Buddha? Does that mean, sorry, I'm just going to give a heart just for fun. Does that mean, go find a scripture in your bookcase and go bow to it and say, help me, right? Or go running to an aria, kind of. The idea of the force of the foundation is after you thought about the regret that it will create a result, then you say, okay, I need to go for refuge. And what are you going for refuge in? You're going for refuge in emptiness, because emptiness is the only thing that can protect you. So you can go to refuge in the three jewels, but understand that going for refuge is an act of understanding the emptiness of everything you're doing, including, you have to think about this, Maria, including the seed itself. Karmic seeds have emptiness too. So think about that one. So the second thing is, after you go for refuge, is that you ask for help. And it says asking for help in the bodhisattvas, the Gelses, the sons and daughters of the Buddhas. And it says about, because they possess the power of prayer. But I might, what does that mean? Do you just imagine a group of bodhisattvas hanging out, wherever they are and saying, hey, come help me? That sounds like to me, when I first heard that, it sounded a little bit much like when I would go to bed as a kid and pray to God for things to happen, right? Like you planted the seed, right? You're like, oh shit, that's going to have to ripen in something. Then you think about emptiness, the only refuge that can actually protect you. And then you ask the bodhisattvas for help. Please help me, right? Sure, you can do that. Not a problem. But maybe I like to think of it as thinking about asking my teachers for help. It makes it easier in my mind. I don't know why. It's hard for me to imagine bodhisattvas like hanging out and I can't see them or something like that. But I'd like to think of my teachers who are helping me or could be helping me. Right? So I'm asking them for help. And then the third step is it's kind of dumb to ask somebody for help and not do what they ask you to do. That's not what the text actually says. But like, think about it. Like, okay, I'm going for refuge in emptiness. Like, I understand where things are coming from. Then you go and ask your teachers, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. You ask the Bodhisattvas for help, right? Then the third thing is acting, like doing what they advise you to do. Okay. Because you see them as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, you see them as someone who reached the goal, you've asked them for help, and they've taken valuable time out of their busy schedule of helping all living beings to help you. And then you don't do what they say. That sounds kind of dumb to me. You put all your faith in them and then you're like, whatever. But that's what we do. We ask for help. We go for refuge in the wrong way. And then we get advices and then we don't follow them. Now, are the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas upset when we don't follow their advices? Well, they're probably more like, well, all right, we'll try again next time. Like, all right. But be careful of crying wolf too much without doing any of it. But they still love you and they'll keep helping you. But you might lose the seeds to see them or get the help if you don't teach it and come to the ACI teacher training. Did you like that one? Nice. That's a nice angle. Oh, sounds like a choir. So the foundation is really about, so when you're first going into this purification, you did something that you know you shouldn't have done. You think about, first of all, you can think about, I was forced to do this by my previous karma, which is such a freaking relief, frankly, to me. Like if I spent a half hour whining in my head about somebody, thinking about why they're wrong and I'm right, and getting irritated without having a conversation with them and painting them to be the monster that they are. I know you've all done it. You can think, well, as soon as you have the thought, you can go, okay, well, this prana, this energy is coming from a previous seed, right? This energy is coming. I was forced to experience this complaining or this, mental state. So that's a nice thing to think about. Kind of relaxing, actually, in the sense of it wasn't totally my fault in the moment. Yes, it was your fault because you had the seed, but you couldn't control it. And then secondly, then you think, well, this is going to have to ripen in something else. This will have to have a result. So that's the regret part. The second thing is then think about emptiness. Go for refuge in emptiness. That not everything is as it has to be. As it appears. Ask for help. And then for the love of seeds, do what the advices you get. All right. The Bodhisattvas will still love you. I don't follow the advices all the time either, but get used to it. All right. So so one of the main things we talked about in the power of regret, and then we're going to move on to the next class, is you don't want to be taking those seeds into your next life. Like part of the fear that should arise is if I don't do something about this now, this could turn into a total nuclear bomb at the time of my death. because you don't know, just like you don't know in your normal life how things are going to ripen. You don't know how things are going to be. And then at the time of death, in a moment of terror, of losing your life, of losing you, you have no idea what lottery ball is going to come out. Which one's going to come out and throw that next world for you? And the example that Shantideva uses is that the terror of dying is exponentially worse than what? How do they say it? If you received a punishment of getting your arm cut off, I don't know. I guess that was a thing, and I guess in some places it still is a thing, like corporal punishment. The if you lived in a culture where if you did something wrong, you got your arm cut off, right? The terror of losing your arm is insignificant compared to the terror of dying. Okay. That's what Shantideva says. So when you have an irritating fake argument in your head with somebody, purify that seed pretty quickly. Try your best to get that seed, to lose its power so it doesn't grow. Because then you just might be surrounded, in your next life by, I don't know, people poking you with sticks, with hot iron sticks all day long from all directions, and you can't escape. That was kind of, those are the things that could happen. So the point is, if the benefits of being a bodhisattva didn't win you over, the disadvantages of not being a bodhisattva should win you over too. All right. Thank you, Shantideva. Yeah. What's the third? What's the third of the fourth forces? Third of the four forces, something like that. Mm-hmm. Got two answers. Depends on which presentation we're talking about. Shantideva's presentation is the antidote. Sorry, Jackie. You're just in a different presentation today. It's all right. So the third thing is the antidote. And the basis of, we're going to go really deep right now, okay? So just hold on. We may not finish this class. I don't care. We'll catch up later. I've said in different ways, like you hear this word of purifying. Okay, I'm going to do something. I planted a seed and I don't want it to ripen, so I'm going to do the four forces, right? Do you actually destroy the seed? Or do you deactivate it in some way? Or do you lessen its power? Right? Because if you could just destroy a seed, then you could just do whatever the heck you want. And you wouldn't have to see the results. And then karma wouldn't make any sense. So our main issue, our main element, or the main tactic is we want to stop those bad seeds from ripening, which force us to do bad things. Okay. But we've already done the thing, so we have to see the result. And then seeds grow. So how does one ever become a Buddha? How do you purify every single dang seed that's been growing since time from no beginning? Right? It's kind of becomes like a mathematical improbability. If you really think about it. These are the things I worry about in meditation. These are the things that keep me up at night. So we're going to go into a little bit of a debate. I'm not going to know, we're not going to necessarily say this is the answer, but we're going to go into a little bit of a debate. And then you have to think about it. So we have our antidote image. Oops. Where did you go? There we are. So in the wheel of life, we have the very, very center of the wheel of life. We have three animals, right? We have a pig, we have a bird, a pigeon, and we have a snake, right? And these all represent ignorance, meaning, what does ignorance mean? It's a misunderstanding of where the world comes from. The misunderstanding that things are out there by themselves. So there's kind of three types of ignorance. There's ignorance in general, and then ignorance in general gets broken into two different types of ignorance. Ignorant things you like and ignorant things you dislike, which are represented by the animals. The two that are coming out of the pig are ignorant liking and disliking, and the pig itself is liking, or excuse me, is ignorance itself. So this is at the center of our universe in the wheel of life. Ignorance is like the center of that entire wheel. And also misunderstanding happens to be the first link as well. It's what starts everything. What started misunderstanding? I see everyone go. So everyone's eyes move. That's the thing that sucks even more, is that there was a moment of misunderstanding beforehand. Nothing started misunderstanding. Oh, so where did misunderstanding come from? No beginning. Which one? How did it first start? That's a fun meditation. So ignorance is what drives the whole thing. And so we call these the three poisons. And so what we end up doing is, in an ignorant liking or ignorant, let's say ignorant liking, right? Liking that's infused with misunderstanding, right? I want something, but I misunderstand, first of all, two things. Let's say, this is the easiest thing. Let's say you want a donut. Okay. That you guys all thought I was going to say a partner and I was going to go in that direction. But I said a donut. Right. And you're craving a donut. What we misunderstand is where donuts come from. So you go to your cafe and you want a donut and you get there and there's only one left, right? And you're walking in and grandma is walking in too, and she has her little walker. And grandma is like, oh, I hope they have donuts. And you're like, I want the donut, right? And because you can walk faster than grandma, you just run up to the counter and you order the donut and you get the last donut because you're hungry and you want it, right? So there's two levels of ignorance going on. First of all, you don't even understand why you see a donut in the first place. You don't even know why the donut's there. The other day I was in Phoenix and I had a craving for ice cream. And my friend and I went to an ice cream shop. And what I really wanted was hot fudge on the ice cream, right? And this only ice cream shop, my favorite ice cream shop is no longer there. And then secondly, this other one, they don't have hot fudge. They have like fake, fake hot fudge. It's not even hot. It's just liquid chocolate in a plastic bottle. And and it was so funny. The lady, the woman who owns the place, she first looks at me and she says, "Oh, you're so sad. You're not going to get what you want." I was like, "What?" She was hysterical. Um, and she was so loving and so kind about not for me not getting what I wanted. I just got whatever she had, and I got the fake liquid chocolate that wasn't hot from a plastic bottle, right? And then we started talking, and she told us this beautiful story. She owns an ice cream shop, right? This is what she does. And she herself wanted hot fudge. I don't know why she decided to tell me this story. I don't know why she doesn't have hot fudge herself after this happened. But she was like, I want hot fudge. So she goes to McDonald's. They have vanilla ice cream and they have the best hot fudge, right? I mean, it's even faker than the plastic, the other stuff I was having, but that's not the point. So she gets in line and she's like, I'm lazy. I'm going to go through the drive through. Okay. So she's sitting in line. She said it took 10 minutes to get up to order it. Right. So she's up there, rolls down the window, and they're like, what can I get for you? And she says, I want a hot fudge ice cream. And they're like, oh, we're sorry, ma'am. The machine's broken. Okay. Now she's stuck, right? In the drive-through. There's 15 people behind her. There's 10 people in front of her. She's been waiting for, who knows, 10 or 15 minutes. And now she has to wait for another 10 minutes to leave McDonald's because they don't have what she wants. I was there with my friend Joe, and we were just laughing. We're like, she owns an ice cream shop and she gives ice cream all day long to people. She has the money. She went to the place that has the ice cream and she still didn't have the seeds to get it. And I'm like, this bodhisattva is teaching me about ignorance. Like this ice cream shop lady is teaching me about my own ignorance. Like, I think I can get hot chocolate by going to the ice cream shop. I can go get hot chocolate by going and waiting in line at McDonald's. I can get hot chocolate because I have money. None of those things create the hot chocolate. Now, what if you have the donut in front of you? How did the donut get there? And then, therefore, wheel of life. If you don't understand how you can walk into a cafe and there's coffee and donuts and muffins and friends and potential partners for all of you people looking for partners, whatever, how are they there in the first place? And if you don't think about that and understand that it's coming from a previous seed, then you're stuck in ignorance. And it goes around and around and again. And much worse is if you think that you're going to, by paying for the donut is the reason you got the donut. If you think that by pushing grandma out of the way to get the donut, then you're even in more ignorance because you didn't get the donut because you pushed grandma out of the way. And then thirdly, by pushing grandma out of the way, you're planting all these negative seeds to get a donut. Okay. And this is what we do all day long in all different ways. Take the donut story, take the ice cream hot fudge story, and apply it to everything else you do, and you're in the wheel of life. Okay. Same thing about things you don't want. I don't want you to yell at me. I don't want you to leave me. I don't want this. And then you start pushing things away. In parentheses, in parentheses, in parentheses. It's okay to not want certain things in life. It's okay not to want someone yelling at you. It's okay to want hot fudge on your ice cream. It's okay to want to get out of suffering. It's okay, all those things. But it's the fuel behind it that keeps you trapped in it. Okay. If you understand the power of hot fudge ice cream as a seed planting practice and understand every single moment that brought you to the ice cream shop in the first place, that why was there an ice cream shop in the first place? Why was there a bodhisattva in there? Why do they have hot fudge? Okay. Why? Because you did all this, because you like hot fudge and because you like ice cream, you probably did something in the past. How many? I went to dinner last night and the bartender was like, yeah, I can't eat ice cream because I'm lactose intolerant. So take Keenan, I think his name was, and put him in an ice cream shop and he's not happy. Right? Ice cream's not happy for him. So you have to understand that when you're having an experience of something you like, it's because you were kind in the past. And if you're experiencing something you don't like, it's because something was wrong with your behavior before. And that's how you get out. Okay. Here's my debate. Alona, you're diamond dealing yourself. Here's my debate. And I'm going to hold to this and we can argue it later. So the question is, how do we arrive at a point where if you've had lifetimes and lifetimes, billions of infinite lives of seeds that are just growing, how could you possibly purify all of them so that you could become a Buddha? It sounds like an impossible task. So one of the things people say is, well, by doing certain practices and building wisdom in your mind, you kind of deactivate those seeds. They call them, you kind of burn them. They're still there, but they can't ever ripen. And I personally don't like that. I could be wrong, and I'm probably wrong, but I don't like that because it feels like, I don't know, it just feels like then the laws of karma make no sense to me anyway. So here's my debate, and you can think about it. If we understand ignorance as a state of mind, like a misunderstanding, a state of mind that's like, it's like imbued with misunderstanding. And if you were to have a state of mind where you had wisdom, like it was a wisdom state of mind, where you understood where things were coming from, then what seeds can ripen in those states of mind? Right? Can a seed planted in an ignorant state of mind ripen in a wisdom state of mind? That's my debate question. That's the thing that I would take to the debate ground, right? Consider your state of mind. It's a state of mind of wisdom, right? So in that way, could ignorant seeds ripen? Could ignorance ripen in wisdom? Okay, think about it. Think about that. Oh, Tim, well, what if I'm, okay, so an aria. Okay, let's take an aria. An aria, a first level, a first Bhumi aria, right? They still see things incorrectly, but they don't believe them. Okay. So do bad seeds ripen for an aria? So these are good questions to ask. Well, yeah, no, they still get sick. They can still get angry. Right? So how does one purify their world? That's a good question. Like, how do you purify a world with a mind of ignorance, a mind of wisdom where bad seeds can still ripen? You have to think about it. These are lots of good questions to think about, because how is it possible to purify something? It's not possible to purify something if you think it's coming from its own side. That's the trick. Even the seeds themselves. And if you can get into that space, and understand how nothing, including the ripening of your seeds or the seeds that you have any self-nature, then that's why you can become a Buddha. And Anastasia has a key there that you guys should think about. Ignorance doesn't come from its own side. And that's the messed up thing about ignorance, is ignorance appears like it's coming from its own side. An ignorant state of mind appears out there by itself. Right? But ignorance itself is also a thing coming from seeds. So good luck. I'll leave it there. You guys can meditate on that. And I got some pictures now. This is much easier. Okay. Here we go. Got a confused guy here. Why is screen sharing paused? Oh, because it's on the wrong screen. I'm sorry. Go over here. Now you can see it. Okay. So why should we make great efforts in purification? And I've already said it, and I'm going to just repeat it again. Because we don't actually understand cause and effect. We don't understand karma and the consequences. We're confused. We actually don't know. We try to know, but we don't know. So we need to make great efforts in purification. This gets fun for me. Okay, so even if we understand a little bit, we're actually not able to break on through. Just like this cow isn't able to go through the fence. We're not able to follow what we do understand. So we're constantly collecting new bad karmas. Like, we can sit here all day and talk about the 4 steps and the laws of karma and the all this stuff and talk. And then you turn around and you get irritated with somebody because you can't stop it. It's a force that we just can't stop without great efforts and without great wisdom. So we're just going to be just like this cow. We're trying, but we keep running up against barbed wire, planting bad seeds. And then because of that, now this is my favorite. We need to remove the obstacles to reaching enlightenment. We need to plunge the toilet. Okay. Right. I decided on this picture because it's an imagination. There were some pictures that were gross. Okay. Right. So in this, we don't understand karma and its consequences. What little understanding we have doesn't help us. So purification removes those obstacles, right? Removes the barbed wire, right? And so we're removing those obstacles to reach bodhicitta. That's what we're trying to do. And when we say bodhicitta, we're talking about the wish for total enlightenment, but we're also talking about the direct perception of emptiness. That's what we're really talking about. And so how do we start shifting this machine, right? Because I just painted a really negative picture. I just painted a picture of it's very, very challenging, which it is. But how do we start, turning the boat in a different direction? First of all, rejoice in all goodness. All right. Any goodness that you can rejoice in, please do, please do, please do. If you see goodness in others, if you hear about goodness, start focusing your mind on that. That starts collecting the positive energy we need for bodhicitta. And then the second thing is urging people, urging the great teachers to keep teaching. Please keep teaching, right? Because you need to hear it over and over and over again, right? When you're doing the force of foundation and you go for refuge in emptiness, and then you ask the teachers to teach, right? Keep asking them to do so. Ask to receive teachings. Not necessarily coming to a Zoom class and listening to an ACI class. That's one way of receiving teachings. Maybe you can receive teachings in the ice cream shop. When you wanted hot fudge and she was like, oh, you're going to have a bad day. You're so sad because I don't have any. Right? She was a bodhisattva teaching me. Thirdly, this is an interesting way of collecting good karma, is that you ask those holy beings not to pass into their nirvana. You ask them to stay. Like there's the famous story of Lord Buddha who passed on into nirvana because no one asked him to stay. All of his students were hanging around, taking care of him. He was sick. But one of the students forgot to ask him to stay. Forgot to ask. And so Buddha was like, I guess nobody cares. That's not what Buddha was thinking, of course. But it's like, well, no one else wants my teachings. I need to go. So you urge them to teach and you urge them to stay. They do all those things. Another way to collect good, powerful karma is by dedicating our good deeds. Like the good things we do is we give them away. We give those seeds away. We're going to talk about that in a second here. And actually, the whole 10th chapter is about Noah. It's all about dedication. How do you give it away? And then there's this last thing, which requires a little bit of discussion, I think. And the last thing is surrender, waving the white flag, basically wave a white flag, I'm done, I give up, right? Kind of a universal symbol of surrender. And it's a state of mind where you're willing and want to give up your body, the things you own, and the power of your good deeds that you want to give them to others. It's a state of, they call it a state of surrender, where you give up your own body, your own things, and your own good deeds to other people. And we got to talk about that a little bit, because it doesn't mean empty your bank account and give it to other people, which you could do, of course, right? I'm not, you can do that, but that's not what it means. It's a state of mind where you're willing to give other people or other beings what they need. And it's a process. It's not like you just, like there's the stories in the sutras where bodhisattvas will someone will come up and say, hey, give me your eye. And the bodhisattva's like, okay, and rips out their eye and, gives you an eye. Or, Sri Sena from a couple years ago, cut off his legs, right, to give to somebody else. And I'm sorry, I'm not giving my eyeball up. I'm sorry. I'm not giving you my arm. I'm not giving you my legs. Maybe I'll give a kidney if I'm feeling okay about it, right? But it's a state of mind where you're willing to give for the benefit of others. Even your own good deeds you would give to other people, which you can't do anyway. Why? Because if somebody could give you their good deeds, they would have already given it to you. Okay. The Buddhas would have already given it to you. If there are universally compassionate beings out there who could give you their seeds, they would have already. Okay. So you really can't give your good deeds to anyone else. But you can dedicate them. You can be willing that other people have them. And if you have a deep want that other people would have them, for the sake of the benefit of all beings, that's a beautiful wish. And after practicing that for a while, it does come up. You're like, oh, I did that good thing. I really hope that Natalia gets that. Or I really hope that Janine gets that, right? If you do a good thing that you hope that someone else will benefit from at that level, it's a very, very powerful practice. But the willingness, the surrender of willing to give up your body, your possessions, and your own good deeds, your good seeds. It doesn't mean cut off your arm if someone needs an arm. Okay. Generally, that doesn't work anyway. Okay. You just can't cut off your arm and put it on someone else's arm or stump there. It doesn't work like that, right? Don't rip out your eyeball of somebody, don't empty, those things we're not going to do, but don't empty your bank account, right? That doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean sell your house. You can choose a lifestyle where you are a wandering yogi and you have no money and you've given it all away. That's a valid lifestyle to choose, but choose it wisely. Okay. If you don't choose it wisely, you'll regret it in 3 days. You will be cold. You will be hungry. Okay. Your loincloth won't fit. something like that. you know. But what it means is your generosity becomes more and more perfect. And the more you understand generosity, the more you're able to give your things away because you understand where they came from, and then you understand how you're going to get more of them. The more money I give away, the more money shows up. It's really fascinating. Okay. There's a reason why, guys, I got secret global services status on United. Okay. Why? I haven't been a United member for that long. It's an airplane company in the United States, right? Super VIP. I haven't been traveling that long with them. I don't spend a lot of money. I spend some, because I travel a lot, but not that much, right? Other people in our organization have been traveling a lot longer than I have and a lot more miles and spent a lot more money, right? It's weird. Like, I'm like, how the hell did they sent me this beautiful letter. They were like, yay, look at this. And I'm like, great. Okay. If you ever travel with me, you'll get in the lounge with me. That's the benefit. And if we're late, they will take us to the next gate and they will wait for us. And if we're super VIP, they will put us in a Jaguar and drive us across the tarmac. Okay. Great. Whatever. I don't care. I get on the plane first, whatever. The plane's still waiting. The plane doesn't take off until everyone gets on it. Who cares? Although it is nice to get on a plane first and then start working. If you're utilizing your time right, it's actually beneficial to get on a plane first because then you don't waste your time. But what kind of family was Siddhartha born into? What kind of family was Asanga born into? Vasubandhu, like these great lamas. They kind of just have natural seeds for like, for, you know, they come from a higher class, right? Because they just have the seeds for it. And part of what they say, I can't remember exactly what text it said, is that as you're, the more you perfect your generosity, like the more you'll move up in social class, even if you don't want to be. Like, it's like Geshe Chikawa, who's like dying and is like, no, 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 I want to go to the hell realms for all living beings. And he can't, and he's like upset because he can't go to the hell realms and he's being drug into a paradise, right? I can't stop money from showing up. I can't stop from being global services from United, right? I don't, and the thing is, I don't care about those things. I really don't. It's nice. It makes you get through the airport faster, but it's about not wasting time. Not wasting my lama's time is probably why I got global services. So my time's not being wasted, right? And who cares? It's just an airplane, right? It's a samsaric thing. Ooh, right? It's just a samsaric thing anyway. But when you're willing to give more, you get more and you can't stop it, right? But then when those things happen, understand why they happen. Like, why do you have the donut? That's the main thing. Why is the donut there? By the way, just because, I tell you, like, money just shows up, it doesn't mean I can get anything done. I can't get my house fixed. You guys can see this. My floor is still concrete, right? I can't get anyone to fix my house, you know. So don't worry about it. Seeds are weird. And next week I won't have them. That's the other thing about money is you can't, seeds, you can't be attached to it because just because the money came this week doesn't mean it will come next week. Just because I got global services this year doesn't mean I'll get it next year. Even if I do the same exact thing. Geshe Michael went from making tons and tons of money at his business, in New York, to having no money for 10 or 12 years, incredible debt. And then he went back to having some money, right? Which, by the way, the money comes in and just goes out the door. He's always creating new projects. So don't be attached to it either, just because you have it today. And then if you don't have it tomorrow, don't get so upset either, right? That's the way seeds work. Unfortunate, but it's the way it works sometimes. So when we're rejoicing in all of those things, so when you can rejoice in goodness, when you urge them to teach, you ask them to stay, you dedicate good deeds, and you surrender. What are you doing that for? And you're doing it for three main things. The most powerful things are done for three things. One, to lead to a higher birth, to make sure you don't get reborn in a place where you can't practice the Dharma. The virtuous deeds can be dedicated to nirvana, a place where there's no more negative emotions. And of course, to complete enlightenment. Like if you're doing things with those motivations in mind, then you don't have to worry about your worldly things eventually. You don't have to worry about your worldly needs being taken care of. And then I also wanted to say that, what becomes important shifts as well. Like the companies that I run, nonprofits, for-profit companies, and the amount of money that goes through it, it's all for other people. Like that's what's in my mind. So your needs become completely different. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's what becomes important shifts as you become more and more, how do I say this? When we're starting out our Dharma practice or we're trying to lead people in, oftentimes we say, hey, you can get what you want. What do you want? Do you want a good partner? Do you want money? Right? Do you want health? Do you want inner peace? Right? And we attract people with those things. Because frankly, that's what we want. I mean, who doesn't want a good partner? Who doesn't want a loving partner? Who doesn't want a sexy partner? Like, yes, of course we want all those things. Who doesn't want to have financial freedom? Yeah, well, duh. Like, who doesn't want to have good health? Like, those are all obvious things. But the more you get into it, the less attractive samsaric objects become. That's what I want to say. The less attractive, when you get something, you're like, oh, that's nice. I got that because I was generous in the past, but you don't become so attached to it. The ignorant liking and disliking starts to attenuate, gets softer. Because it doesn't, a lot of those things they're just things. They go away. You can't even take those things with you in your next life. If I was the one in that car accident last week, right? All of this here, can't take it with me, right? But I can use it to help other people. That's the thing. A bodhisattva gets things to serve other people. But it's okay. You're a living being too. You're serving yourself. So get things for yourself. Get yourself nice clothes. Get yourself a comfortable house. Get yourself a nice partner. Because then you can serve other people better. What's the opposite of rejoicing? This is the next question. Being jealous of what other people have. You know what's also a really negative jealousy that people have? Being jealous of other people's Dharma practice. Being jealous when someone plants seeds so well that they get what they want and you didn't. Okay. That's the worst kind of jealousy. And it serves to block your progress. All right. And it sucks when you don't get what you want. It really does. I know this. Like, I've been planting seeds for so long and I've been doing such a good job. And I still can't get certain things to happen in my life. And then I'm jealous of others when they have it. It's such a, like, you want to ensure that you don't get it, be jealous. Yesterday I was in a staff meeting and I was giving one of my speeches about who knows what. And off on the other side of the cafe, this couple walked, they were in the kind of the corner and they were just so freaking in love, right? They were so cute and they were like hugging each other and they were looking at each other. And I just stopped the meeting and I'm like, that's amazing. And it got even more amazing because they just made out in the cafe. Like, they just held on to each other and they were just kissing each other in the middle of this cafe. And they were really kissing each other. It wasn't just like a little on the cheek or on the lips. Like, they were into it, right? And I was just, the immediate reaction. The reason I'm doing this, I'm rejoicing. Okay, as I looked at it, and I was just so happy. I was so happy for them. And I interrupted the meeting. I stopped talking, and I was like, "Hey guys, look at that!" Right? Actually, I didn't pick up my computer. That was a lie. I wanted to, you know, but I didn't have a moment of jealousy. It's like, I'm like, I want that, but it was like, I had that feeling of, I want that in a way that, wow, that's so beautiful. It's ripening right now in front of me. Look how close it is. It's the seeds are ripening. They're just over there. They're just not over here yet. Right. They're close. They're not quite here yet, but they're close. Right. So if you want something, for the love of seeds, rejoice when you seed in somebody else. Why? And we're going to end the class right there, as soon as we explain the why. Why? Exactly, Persis. You have the seeds to see someone making out in the cafe and enjoying themselves. You're the one that sees that. So you're going to be jealous of your own seeds? Oh, I don't have that. Oh, really? You don't have that? It's over there. It's over there. And you're like, and you're upset because it's not over here. That's ignorance. That's the basis of ignorance. And that's the basis of being in the wheel of life. And we do it all the time. And we get jealous when we see things that are coming from us, that were coming from a past seed, that past kindness that we did to somebody else. They were happy. They were in love. Sloppy kisses in the in the cafe. That's what my cafe is going to be called, Sloppy Kisses. I'm buying the cafe next to the college. Actually, nobody knows. I mean, the cafe doesn't know that I'm buying it. So when we have our university here, there'll be a college cafe owned by Tim. And I just named it Sloppy Kisses. Okay. It's probably not going to stick, but don't be. It is the epitome of ignorance to get upset at and jealous of seeing things that other people have that you want. Now, if you do get jealous, where did that come from? And now you're ready to get out of the wheel of life. Now you're ready to interrupt it with those questions. I got jealous. Oh, why? I just saw people making out. That came from me. Yes. Next moment, I'm jealous. Yes, that's coming from me too. And now you're ready. And now you're ready to cut the cycle. Yay, it's 7:30. Thank you for joining today. Very much appreciate all of you. That's class 5 of 10. Thank you, translators. Thank you, recording team, who's actually recording Dalam right now too. We had to schedule things at the same time. So thank you all very much. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Again, please, if you have any inkling to be a teacher, please join this weekend. Even if you decide not to be a TA, it's really, really, really great practice. Could we put that up again, maybe? Maybe the link? I think you put it up originally, Anastasia. Where is it? There it is. Put the link up. Anyone can take the teacher assistant training course, but in order to teach it in the actual teacher training, you need to finish ACI 6. But you have a month to do that, and you can watch it on the platform. You can watch my class. You can just copy the homeworks and submit them. Don't tell anyone. Just pull the answer keys out and then copy them. Cut and paste. I didn't tell you that. It's not a good idea, but I didn't tell you that. All right. Cool. We'll have a half-hour break if you want to stick around, and we're going to have some Lam Rim. So I hope you all have a great day if you're heading off to the rest of your day. Otherwise, I'll see you in a half an hour. And let's say goodbye.
Bye, Tim. Thank you so much.
Bye, Tim. See you in Lam Rim.
Grazie team, grazie,
Thank you,
buona
team.
giornata.
Спасибо. Thank you.
Спасибо всем.
Так.
Gracias.
Спасибо, thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye,
Thank
teacher
you, Tim,
team.
for your
Goodbye,
teaching.
teacher
Thank you.
team. We love you. We love you. Bye. Bye.
Goodbye, Angel.
Goodbye, Angel.
Thank you so much.
It's coffee time. I'll see you guys in a little bit.